First, I want to talk to you about your amazing location because I've been there before and it's just incredible. The meadow, the location, it's so central. So tell me, if people come to visit you where you are, what do they do? Why do they go there predominantly?
Our location, which is in Warwickshire, so the heart of England, in essence, on our family arable working farm. The people who come to stay with us, and this is something that I've learned over the last 4 or 5 years, because really I didn't fully appreciate. We just opened up a glamping site that was in a beautiful meadow field, had lovely vistas, sunsets, and we just wanted people to come somewhere where they could relax and enjoy each other's company. And of course, when you live somewhere, you understand that there's lots of attractions in the area, but you don't necessarily appreciate how they might appeal to the guests visiting the area. So we live very close to Rugby, which has the rugby game at its heart. So there's museums in Rugby town itself and a lot of history there. We're also in Shakespeare's England, so we're close to Stratford and Warwick that have a lot of history attached to them as well. But many people that come just come and they pitch up and they're just here. They're here with their families, enjoying each other's company, taking time out from our busy lives, which seems to be getting busier and busier and so clogged up with digital stuff. And also we found that because of our central location, we get a lot of groups that come to stay with us who are traveling from various corners of the UK to meet up, old university friends, or just families who perhaps we have a local family, the grandparents live miles down the road, and their children have sort of spread out and headed to different parts of the UK. And they come to us each year with the grandchildren. So it's 3 or 4 generations that come, and it's so lovely. And they say it's just a great opportunity. There's plenty of space where they can just chill out, play lots of games, have fun, reconnect with each other, catch up without any distractions around. The main thing that we've learned is our location is great for those coming together, just to catch up again after time apart.
One of the things that I know about your business is that you have this fantastic level of repeat booking. So I know that that says so much about business, and the quality of a business is if they have customers coming back time and time again. And one of the things that I've also noticed because I've been with you is the high quality of everything that you have, literally everything, from even your containers that you put in the fridge with food in it that you're giving your guests on welcome. I mean, the detail that you have gone to in terms of the power shower, the heated blanket, the passion you must have to put that energy and effort into everything that you've done. And that's obviously why you're getting the repeats, because people are noticing that too when they're coming. But tell me, why was that so important for you to put that level of high quality to it?
I guess it was because we wanted to create a place that we would want to stay in ourselves. And it was just important to us. We made sure that our guests were comfortable, that they had all the home comfort. Sleep was the crucial thing as well, because we know that when we go away on our holidays, as a Bimini farm, we only get 1 holiday a year. So when we do go away, it's important for us that we get that rest that we're seeking from taking time out from our business. So we made sure that the beds had amazing mattresses on them, that the bedding that we use, the cotton, that we often get a lot of compliments about today, how cozy and warm they are. Because obviously, with them still being a canvas structure, quite often when people stay, they say you forget that you're in a canvas structure until, of course, the temperatures drop at night. But once people are in bed, it was important to us that they were warm and cozy and they've got that good night's sleep. And so far, nobody has ever complained of being cold. Even when we've had people stay, I think it was October, and the temperature dropped to -3 one night. We put plenty of heaters in as well, so to make sure that they're warm in each of the bedrooms with the electric blanket. The duvets are these gorgeous, heavy duvets that are 15 tall, and we have rows and things. So yeah, the sleep element was really important to us. But we also wanted to make sure that once they were here, it was easy for them. They had everything they needed at their fingertips, so they really didn't have to think about the garlic crop they needed to bring the peppers if they forgot, because there's one in the drawer. But the only thing we don't have are ovens, but generally people say, oh, that's fine. We're only here for a few days, so we can live without an oven. But we do have a microwave oven. They've got the barbecue, there's pizza ovens. We provide some cookers. So there's everything but an oven. And people say, oh, that's fine. We can manage without that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I go away, I want to go and use the barbecue. I don't want to be cooking something in an oven for sure. I want someone to be cooking for me. So I'll be going to the local pub. Everyone who stays in your meadow, in your safari tent, they've just got heaps of space. It's incredible the amount of space they have. You've decided to use the space that you have through the farm. So you've diversified your family farm and you decided to set up what I would classify as a lifestyle business. So tell me a little bit about why it was so important for you to actually focus on the lifestyle element of the business and what you were doing.
If I'm completely honest, I forgot all about that in our first year. The first year happened to coincide with COVID, so it was 2020. And I learned the hard way, shall we say, about trying to find the balance because I was completely focused on making sure that we were doing it right because we had loads of restrictions in place with COVID. And I just wanted to hit the mark with my guests that did come. So it was incredibly stressful that first year for many reasons. Aside from the business, there was a lot going on in the world as well. I had to take a lot of advice. Come the end of 2020 and into 21, I took a breather and made sure I understood finding that balance was important to making sure that the business and I was able to get up every morning and go out and do business and focus and without feeling like I was being overwhelmed on a daily basis. It was to find that balance. It was to make sure that I was enjoying what I was doing, which was the whole point of starting it in the first place, but that also I wasn't neglecting my family or my personal health or my friendships around me as well. So once I sort of got through that first year, I was able to sort of see the wood for the tree, shall we say, and begin to focus on actually enjoying running the business. And the bottom line was making sure I had the balance. It's very easy to fall down that trap of this has to work and forgetting about everything else, but making sure that the bookings were coming in and that I was trying to get everything perfect. But I don't know, maybe you have to go through that to realize that it's not the right, it's not sustainable.
Sometimes you do have to go through the ups and the downs and maybe hit the bottom and bounce up again and kind of go, okay, I don't want to go back there again.
Yeah.
What do I have to do differently to stop that
Yeah.
from happening?
Yeah.
And that's when you start getting your support systems in place. That's when you start saying, no, I won't accept this again. I won't do that again. I'm going to do this instead. So, in the life of your business, tell me about a typical day for you. I know that you run an arable farm, so you're really lucky. You don't have to get up quite so early as other people, other farmers.
No, not if you've got livestock, that's for sure. There's no sort of feeding or bedding up or any of that. So yeah, or even certain times of the year if you're lambing and you're up all hours with lambs being born or calving or anything. But the glamping itself, I am in essence a one-man band with that. So I sort of look after every aspect of it. And big lesson I learned was calling in help when I needed it. So a typical day, it varies really. I've actually figured out if I have a routine in place, that is the best way of making sure that I achieve a lot more during my working week. So for example, Mondays and Fridays are typically changeover days. So I have guests arriving, guests departing, and they're cleaning days. So I do have a lady who comes to help me as well. So that's great. So that takes a bit of pressure off. And it helps us to ensure that we can turn the accommodation around in a reasonable time. So in theory, Mondays and Fridays are generally changeover days. And then I typically have Tuesdays and Wednesdays as laundry days. So whether I'm washing and then ironing. And then a Thursday is a great day for me if I want to do any networking or if I want to go and visit other local businesses and see if there's any collaboration opportunities or meetings. So Thursdays are generally a good day for that. And then in between everything is just admin. So whether it's marketing, whether it's the sending newsletters out to my subscribers, whether it's blog posts, whether it's checking my analytics, making sure that the Google ads are doing what they're supposed to be doing or any ad platforms that you're utilizing. So yeah, I guess it's more of a typical week than a typical day because it does vary. But I think also a level of flexibility is important just so that you can, because you get unexpected things. It's not like just turning up at an office and sitting at a desk from 8:30 till 5:30. There's a lot of different things that can just crop up. So another thing I've learned to be is flexible. And obviously if you've got guests staying, I like to be available for them. Some are just here and don't need anything at all, which is great. And then others, they like to do, for example, I've got some people staying at the moment and their daughter really loves helping me in the morning doing the hens and the alpacas. So we meet every morning, 8 a.m. and we go and do that and spend a bit of time chatting with her parents and the family. So, and I love that as well. That's a lovely element of it, getting to know my guests.
I totally agree with you with the routine, because one of the things that when you're working as a solopreneur, you're on your own, essentially, you can decide what you want to do, when you want to do it, all of those things. And sometimes having all of that choice can be overwhelming almost.
Yeah.
So it's good to actually focus down into, okay, what am I going to do for this week? And having the routine means you don't even have to think about that. There's one of the things that I learned after my stroke that I had was that the way the brain works is that you have a set amount of decisions that you can make in a day. So this is, getting up. Okay, what am I having for breakfast? That's a decision. What am I going to wear? That's a decision. Am I going to take the dog for a walk? That's a decision. These are so many decisions, tiny little decisions. And then, of course, you've got the big decisions. What am I going to do to get more guests? What am I going to do to improve my business? All of those huge decisions. By the end of the day, you're running low on decisions, because that, whatever it is, your brain has probably got a maximum, the same as my brain. And this is one of the reasons why people who are big in business, they get up in the morning and they wear the same clothes. Every day they wear the same clothes, same t-shirt. Obviously, it's going to be clean clothes. And probably if they're very big in business, it'll be brand new clothes every day. But it's the same thing. So they don't have to make a decision. They've saved a decision. So what you're almost saying there with your routine is you're saving yourself that decision of, what do I focus on today? What do I get done today? Which is great. It's a great way of kind of saving that energy for something else and putting it towards something else. So in terms of your business and you working in it and everything it allows you to do, is there anything specifically that you love about it, that it allows you the freedom to explore, your own hobbies or your likes and dislikes or whatever it might be? Is there anything that you love about that?
Well, funny enough, the guests again who were here this week, they arrived on Sunday and I had to clean. I was cleaning a tent on the Monday, and she said to me, "I was going to wish you a happy cleaning day, but perhaps not a happy cleaning day." I said, "Well, actually, I do find satisfaction in seeing how well used the facility that we provided has been utilized, and different things that they've enjoyed using, whether it's the games, whether it's the log burning stove, anything in the kitchen that they particularly used a lot of." To me, that's sort of a great insight into what we're providing for our guests. And also, I love to just take it all back to ready for the next lot of guests. I never thought I'd be a happy cleaner. I'm not really in my own home, but I am in my accommodation, because I just love to make it all right again. So I love getting outdoors. And I love being in nature. And I try and I've discovered that actually I can't take photos of animals because they're so quick and they're all over the place. So I've just started saying, you're going to have to believe me that they're out there. And whether it's kites or a buzzard flying up high in the sky, I love all of that. And I love to share that with my guests and hope that they too can experience that when they're here. But also in my newsletters that I send out or my social posts. So I take pleasure from that as well. But yes, I think they're probably the cleaning, but also being able to share my enjoyment of being out in nature with the people that stay.
When I stayed with you, I saw a kite, and the bird is, for anyone who hasn't seen a kite, it has the most beautiful tail feathers and it's huge. And I sat quietly and watched it, and I felt privileged almost that I was being allowed an opportunity to observe this creature in its natural environment. And it felt almost like I was having a sneaky peek that normally you would not get that close to such a majestic creature. And I can totally relate to what you're saying there. And I also believe that when you are offering services like yours and you're inviting people to be part of that, they may never have that opportunity in their daily life, ever. And if they have children, they're inviting the children in, and they have this opportunity to be with animals, to observe nature, to observe the environment. And I believe that that really kind of generates that sense of love and belonging to nature as well, where we feel so disconnected on a daily basis, especially if we live in the city and we don't have much opportunity to go outside. So I feel very passionately that actually services like yours really do help to generate a tribe of nature protectors for the future, because they'll love nature. And if they love nature, they'll work hard to protect it. That's my thinking anyway. And what you've just said there, I think is probably, it's your thinking as well.
Yeah, it is. And I do try and provide lots of different resources in our accommodation in the tent. So we specifically for children, but obviously adults can take what they want from these resources as well. So I have like little guidebooks on bird identification or butterfly and insect identification. I provide flashcards so they can go out for nature walks and they can take a little look and identify leaves on trees and different wildflowers. Yeah, so I just want to be able to give people as much opportunity as they can to go out and enjoy nature and also learn about it as well. We also offer a free farm tour that many of our guests take up on. And my husband and I, when he's not busy and he's normally able to find an hour or so whilst across the time we have guests staying, that we can walk around and we can show them the crops that we're growing. We can talk to them a little bit about the history of the farm and show quite often, like you were saying, people don't appreciate perhaps the size. They've seen tractors or a combine working in the field at a distance, but to actually be up close and personal to these sorts of farm machinery and vehicles can be quite an experience as well. So we love to show them how they're used, the growing process, what's involved in growing a successful crop, where our crops go to. And sometimes, for example, we grow sugar beet and for British sugar. So that's the silver spoon products that people buy in the supermarket, but they haven't associated the two. They didn't realize that actually it's grown in the UK. So we're able to share that with them and talk to them a little bit about the difference between sugar beet and sugar cane. And for us, that's great. And there's a lot of people actually that don't know anything about farming at all. So for us to be able to share our knowledge and hopefully educate them a little bit as well, so that when they go home, they know a little bit more of us.
In terms of the machinery, I mean, awe-inspiring. When I was visiting you and you let me get into the combine harvester, climb up into it, the wheel was twice as big as me, probably. I mean, it's just incredible to think that you're driving these things around almost like they're a car. But I enjoyed the experience because I've always seen them in the fields, or I've got stuck behind them in the lanes, but certainly never sat in one. So it was incredible. Do you think that that whole education process of your farm opens up the thinking of visitors so that they go home thinking very differently about what it's like to be a farmer and, what it's like to maybe get into the industry? Do you think it's opening up their eyes to the difficulties? And
Well, we really hope so. We really do, because, I think, well, without going too much down a rabbit hole about it, but unfortunately, farming doesn't really get the best press currently. So I think for us to be able to share directly and so that people can hear it from the horse's mouth, we really hope that they are a little bit more informed when they leave us. And when they're sitting behind a tractor on the country lane, they're not necessarily going back away. But one piece of advice I was once given was, quite often, it's never traveling far. So it's always worth being patient, because it's only going from the farm to maybe the field, which is half a mile down the road. So it's always worth being patient.
so if you were to start all over again, your business, what do you think you would do first to have the most impact fast, now that you have the benefit of hindsight?
Hindsight. Okay, with the benefit of hindsight. So I do love the accommodation you have. So we have safari tents and they sleep up to 6 people. I think that I would probably sit down and have a real deep think about what my capacity is. Will I want to employ people to help me? Is that something? I mean, often it's difficult, isn't it? Because you don't always know whether you can or can't manage certain situations. So I know now that I really don't want to have to employ anybody on a regular basis. I want to manage this myself as much as I can within my capabilities. Obviously, I reach out. We have a web support team to help us with our website, because that's a little bit like brain surgery. I have no clue. So I trust them to make sure that they keep on top of what needs to be done there. And that to me is a part of the budget essential. But other areas of business that I know I can manage myself, I think I would say, what is my capacity? And maybe we've got 2 units or 2 safari tents. And I think maybe I'd probably go, oh, 1 would make it more manageable, especially as I want to do this myself. So I just want to just think about your capacity, whether you're prepared to employ people to help you, and the size of the business that you want to be running. So that would be a big conversation that I think I would have. But it'd be a difficult one, because sometimes you think you're more capable than you are until you're actually running your business. So that's a tricky one. We decided that we were going to work seasonally anyway. So canvas structures in this country, they are best seasonally, because especially the type that we have, where we've got hot water and power and the luxury element of it, where we've got items inside. Whilst the canvas structures, actually, they never get damp. We've never experienced damp in there. They've always been quite, damp free. But when they get cold during the winter months and early spring, you really have to consider what you have in those units, the frost protection. So then I did wonder if maybe we shouldn't have gone down the canvas structure route, and perhaps we should have gone with a more solid, whether it's a cabin, a log cabin, or shed, something like that. But at the time, we wanted something that was a bit different, and borrow tent in this area. And actually, there still are. There's not many of them in this area. But it would be really think about my capacity and how much I think I am capable of doing, and whether I'd be prepared to employ people to help me, or whether I just want to be a one-man band and do it.
We always seem to get caught up in overestimating what we're going to be able to do. Always. I certainly do. In my daily calendar, it's got a list of my task list. So I section the day. This task needs doing, that task needs doing. And there's inevitable distractions and things that come up that you weren't expecting. And I suppose in a way that's the joy of having a lifestyle business, is that you can park your business and say, actually, I need to do this other thing, and I don't want to be feeling like I have to do that thing. Obviously, it's different. You've got elements of it. Your guests need to be sorted. They need to have everything they need. But once that's done, you're pretty much free to be able to work around the other expectations of the day. And so for me, I think that's my knowledge of running a lifestyle business. That's the thing that I hold up as the biggest priority for me, and the biggest benefit for me, that it does allow me to occasionally be distracted by other things, or if I'm feeling exhausted, to sit in the sun or visit the beach or something like that, to have that self-care time. You can't do that if you're working 9 to 5 from an office.
No. And I think also, like you were saying about it being a lifestyle business, that's why it's important to try and have this conversation with yourself, because you think, I need to know that when I'm running the business, it's not going to overtake and bleed into my personal life. And that I can say, that's fine. I haven't now got to go and do something with the second or third unit, because I don't want to employ anybody. I want to do it all myself. Because I can't, because I haven't got time for me or my family, because I'm committed to 2 or 3 units, and I also don't want to employ anybody. So I think you need to really have a good word with yourself and say, right, this is a lifestyle business. It needs to be manageable, so that I can enjoy my own life, my family, my friends, and my time, and still enjoy my business at the same time. I think also, going back, and this is something that I did do, so it's not really a hindsight thing, it's just I'm glad I did it. And that was to be part of your support group, the Startup and Growth Club. So I was really lucky that I came across you as we were in the beginning stages of our business, before we'd even opened, because I think that I've learned a lot as well from being a part of your group. So that was an important important element that I would say that I'm glad that I found you, and that I was able to cut, every Wednesday evening we sit down, we have a chat, and it's great with all the other members as well, and talk about different things, and like it takes an element of worry out, because you've got your ear to the ground, so you know exactly what's coming up in there, whether it's to do with AI or Meta or Google or whatever else is going on. I think because there is so much when you're running your own business, there are just so many different elements that it can get overwhelming. So to be able to sort of be you to be saying, right, okay, well, I've just come across this, and maybe you haven't seen it yet, but it's something to keep on your radar. And you think, oh, okay, great, yes, because I would have completely missed that if I'd been on my own and without being part of the group.
Well, you're an incredible member, Jules. You bring so much value to the group and the conversation, so it's incredible to have you there. I think that's the thing, isn't it? That we as solopreneurs, we do sit in our individual offices and we have our heads down and we do the work and do whatever else we need to do out of the office. But sometimes it can be a bit of a lonely existence if we're plugging away at things on our own and we're thinking, should I be doing this or should I be doing that? And how do I do this? And will I get benefit from that? So I'd say for anybody who wants to get involved in any kind of entrepreneurship, whether that's on their own or with a group or a team or something, particularly if it's a lifestyle business, is to look for that support group, wherever that support group is, because those are the people that will have your back when you're having a bad time. And they're the ones that will say, you're doing all right, don't worry about it so much, or whatever, or let's learn about this new technique, this new thing that's coming in that none of us knew about, because technology is just mind-blowingly changing so much. And when you've got a group of people there to actually say, we've got your back, is just so valuable. I certainly feel that. So it's really lovely to hear. And thank you so much for mentioning that, Jules. So what would you say then is your number one golden piece of information that you would share for somebody who was thinking about setting up a lifestyle business or a glamping business like you've done, or some kind of diversification of their existing business? What would you say is kind of the number one thing they need to think about?
Well, the thing I have learned, and it took me a couple of years, and I wish that I'd sort of stuck to my guns at the beginning, is just to remain authentic, really, to not try and keep up with the Joneses, the business down the road, or somebody else you might have seen on Facebook running a similar glamping site to you. I think you've got to just work on the reason you started the business in the first place, your personal passions, because and you can't. And the other thing is, you can't be all things for everybody. So try and think about your target market, or the demographic that you want to appeal to, and then just focus on them. Don't try and work on couples and groups and hens and stags or everything, because it's just going to dilute your offer. Not. So I found that just let your own passions come out and share those on your social posts or blog posts. It will evolve the demographic of people, I think, that come to you. They'll see what you're offering, and they'll speak to other people who like similar things. And that sort of word of mouth is a great marketing thing. But the thing that I've learned from you is that know, like, and trust. So I think it also makes the job easier. If you're just being yourself and being authentic, then that's half the battle, because you're talking about and sharing things that you really enjoy. And then as you build up a following, or on social, or with your guests that are coming, and with subscribers, they'll get to know you better, they'll get to like you more, and then they'll get to trust you. Just forget about everybody else, work on your own offering, why you started in the first place, and just share my passion and my knowledge. I mean, by no means am I an expert. This is just what I learned from being out in nature and wanting to share that. And what we have here on the farm is a gift that I want to share with others. So yeah, remain authentic. Even when things, because the beginning of this year, we had a really wet spring and it was very slow on the booking front. And I was beginning to feel a little bit dejected and thinking, what's going on? There's no bookings coming in and all the rest of it. Stay consistent, stay present, keep being there, keep showing up on your socials. And even though people might not be in the right mindset at that time, if you just keep popping up consistently, when they are ready, then they'll go, oh, I remember Meadow Field. Yeah, it's time to go and book a stay with them. So yeah.
I couldn't agree more. And what you're talking about there about being authentic is when you're being authentic to you and your passion and what you love about your area and everything else in your offering, it feels a bit vulnerable. So people tend to put up this barrier of pretending to be something different, you know, pretending to be more professional or more of an expert or whatever. Actually, I think it's really important for people to be vulnerable. That's when people connect more deeply with you. And another thing you said there as well about don't try to be everything to everyone. And from my point of view, if you try to do that, you end up being nothing to no one. If you really focus in on who your ideal person, your customer, your guest, the person you want to work with, if you really focus in on who that is, other people who kind of feel like, yeah, that's kind of me too, even if it's not exactly, they'll feel more connected with that than they will if you're trying to be everything to everyone. And that's why the everything to everyone doesn't work. So I think those two tips there are really valuable. Yeah. Remain authentic and remember who you're specifically offering what you offer to.
And don't forget yourself.
Don't forget yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, make time for yourself as well, because that's the whole point of having a lifestyle business, is that you are enjoying what you do, but also have the time and the ability to look after yourself. And it's that whole sort of put the oxygen mask on you first so that you can deliver or help others. Because if you're run down and if you haven't got the energy and the enthusiasm, then it will affect your business. So yeah, you definitely want to make sure that you've chosen this business, a lifestyle business, so that you can enjoy both your time and also, the business that you're creating.
And be there for your family. And that's
Absolutely.
key.
Yeah. Me. No, family.
No, not at all. But I was, thinking about it from my perspective. My family, they're always throwing things, in my path. And it just feels really good that I can pick that up and I can deal with it. And I can say, you know what, that's okay. I'll take 2 days off because you need to do this and I'll be there for you and with you and support you. And it's very hard to do that when you're working in a different, more restrictive business. So for me, a lifestyle business really allows us that opportunity.
It does. It does. And yeah, like you say, you can manipulate your diary. You can decide, actually, it's a Tuesday afternoon, but my son's got a cricket match. And yes, I do have time. I can go and sit and enjoy that, because maybe I'll put those hours that I've spent watching him play cricket at another point in the week working. But that's the great thing about, when you work with yourself as well, that you can manipulate the diary and enjoy your family. Because especially children, before you know it, they won't be there.
Yeah.
You've missed out on those great years of opportunity.
So if somebody wants to check out your website, where do they need to go?
So we are www.meadowfieldglamping.co.uk, and we're also on Facebook and Instagram, Meadow Field Glamping. Yeah, so that's where we are. We have contact details are on that, on it's Facebook, Instagram, or on the website. Be an email or a call. I'm happy to answer any questions.
And I can absolutely recommend your location, that if anybody wants to get together with their wider family who they haven't seen for a long time, and everyone has plenty of space and facilities and just lots and lots of comfortable beds, everyone gets together in the field and has barbecues and pizzas and plays games. I can recommend that thoroughly, because it's just such a lovely place to do that. And I think personally for us, we're not doing that enough at the moment. All of the COVID years has kind of, stopped that for a bit. And we all need to get back to doing that and having some fun with the family and, enjoying being in nature together.
Absolutely. And there's no greater pleasure for me than hearing families taking the football around, because our home is very close to the glamping field. And when I hear that laughter and I hear the squeal of children or the families having a good old football match in the meadow field and enjoying themselves, that says to me, yeah, this is exactly why we created this space.
And that's why you do what you do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jules. So lovely to speak to you today.
And to you, Sarah. Thank you.